welcome to RCSJ Today. I'm your host, Angie Pacini. I'm happy to share the inspiring story of a graduate of our English as a Second Language program. Faleeha Hassan had been a successful poet in Iraq, but when she arrived in the U.S. 10 years ago, she could not speak English. Today, she writes her poetry in English and recently released a popular memoir. Her former English as a Second Language instructor, Nolan, chatted with Faleeha just before her book was released.
I'm here with Faleeha Hassan. She is my friend and former student. Hi, Faleeha. How are you?
Hi, Ms. Nancy. Thank you. It's my honor. It's my pleasure to be with you again.
Well, I know that you just wrote a book, your memoirs,
yes.
Of the War and Me.
Yes.
War and Me.
Yes. With this book, the memoir book, it was my dream. Okay. I was thinking about this book, publishing this book since I was in Iraq. Okay. Because I was a witness for so many wars and horrible situation when I was teenage, when in my early youth years, something like that. And then I talked to Professor William Hashking, the guy he was translate my poetry before I started writing in English. I told him I have idea to write a memoir, but I don't know if that's possible to publish it here. I don't know the rule. I said, I have a friend, her name Gabriella. She's editor with Amazon. I'm going to introduce you to her to speak about your new project. I don't know, maybe she will accept it, the company. I sent it to her. She said, I have a meeting with my colleague and all of them, they love your idea. And she said, I'm going to give you 1 year to finish your book.
Wow.
I started writing the book in Arabic language. I was very emotional when I write this kind of book, because in memoir, to write about your feeling, the feeling you want to get rid of it, or you want to heal from it. Now you force yourself to remember it. That's something so hard. I remember every time I write everything, anything in this book, I will I will write a paragraph or a few pages. I will go outside, walking, because I need just to shake myself from all these bad feelings. It's not easy to write a memoir. It's not. It's like my joy when I write poetry. It is something, I'm not saying it's light, but something I enjoy to write in it. But write stories or novel or memoir is so difficult. So difficult.
You really have to dig inside yourself.
Yes. And I can't just imagine things. I need to be in the event to write about it.
In that moment, in that event. Moment,
yes, to write about it. I can't just imagine something. That's why I'm not good with to write a fiction novel or something. I need something nonfiction to write about it.
So you need it really concrete and
yeah.
Wow. So you are a well-known poet in your country.
Yes.
Why did you decide to leave Iraq and come to the United States?
I was doing poetry. I did write the first book of my poetry book. It's called Because I Am a Girl in 1991. Okay. After that, I did publish several poetry books and stories, novel in Arabic language. But when I did leave my country, because there is there's no choice for me to be safe there, and my kids will be safe because there is so many dangerous issue. And I was dealing with war when I was in it as a teenage, because I was a witness about the Iraqi war, Iraqi-Iran war, and the Kuwait war, and all these war after. But there is something about me when I get divorced. It became so dangerous to me to stay there in Iraq. I find my name in death list one time. And that's also making me worry about my kids' safety. As you know, I have kids and they are young and they want to live them life, and I don't feel good if I put them in dangerous.
You left and you made your way to Turkey.
Yes, because it's not easy to come from, especially if you are Iraqi, you can't just saying, okay, I'm going to Australia or America or any countries. You need to be a refugee to come to these places. That's why I took my kids and I left my countries. I went to Turkey. I spent 1.5 years there in Turkey. And then I applied for a refugee status. Then I received, after 1.5 years, I received a phone call from Catholic Charity, and they said, we want you to go to America, to New Jersey. And in my mind, I didn't hear about New Jersey state. This is the first time I said, oh my God, there is a New Jersey state? Believe me, because it's like, I said, maybe they will, the UN, maybe they send me to Australia or Europe or I don't know. That's meaning this is nothing. I didn't plan to come to America or to New Jersey, but I think I'm lucky enough to the UN gave my case to United States, and they picked me. Before I came here, I don't have a friend or relative or family in whole America.
I know that your English was very minimal when you moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to come to English class at Rowan College, South Jersey?
Actually, when I came here, I came with zero English.
Zero?
Yes.
It's zero English, no
zero
English.
No, zero English. And I start to looking for someone to, first of all, to establish my language and to add vocabulary and teach me how can I speak with other people, because you don't know, like you need to feel safe, but you can't be safe if you don't know the language the people use around you. Okay, that's why I came to them, to your class, because I think you just pay $10 for, to attend this class, and I did for 6 months, I think, with Miss Kim.
Mm-hmm. You were with me for just a short time, and then you moved to the higher level.
Yeah, with Miss Kim.
Was learning English difficult for you? I feel like it wasn't. You
because
knowledge quickly.
Learning any language is difficult, okay? But because I was working in my language almost 5 hours every day, and then I started watching cartoon. In 2012, I started watching cartoon in English. Then I moved, I took the baby step with my language.
Okay, baby steps. That's a good way to learn.
Yes. And then I start reading the kids novel, kids story. Then I start also watching shows, like funny shows. Okay. Yeah. but after that, after I established my language and I developed my vocabulary, right now, it's thank God I read and write in English. My language, when I talk, it's getting better, and I can communicate with other people. And, yeah,
you can. You've done wonderfully. Great,
thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
You learned English so well that I invited you to come back, and you just took over the whole class and read some of your poetry and talked about your life.
Mm-hmm. I remember that once you called me and I said, yes, I'm happy and glad to be with you and with your student. And when I started talking about my life in Turkey, and I remember there's so many students from Turkey there in your class. And people start to be exciting about my life there. And then after that, they asked me to read my poem, and you did too. And I read 2 or 3 poems, and it was lovely. I hope one time, you can invite me again, and I will read from my new book, my memoir, or maybe my poetry book.
How many poetry books have you written?
All my books, in between, in Arabic and English right now, is 25 books.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and also I have a new book coming soon too. It's poetry book too. It's maybe in the end of this year, there will be 26, 27. I don't know.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I just want to mention that you have been nominated for a Pulitzer Prize in poetry.
Yes.
And that you also were profiled in Oprah magazine.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
My next question is, you took this on during the pandemic, took this writing project on. I must admit, I feel like such a slug compared to you.
Oh, no, please don't say that.
You just dove right in and during the pandemic produced a book. That's amazing.
No, I was, making myself busy, if that's what.
Okay, now I kind of want to promote your book a little bit. It's due to be released August 1st.
Yes.
You can purchase it online.
Yeah, Amazon. There's so many places. This will be available also in stores.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think one time I will walk to the store and I find my book.
That'll be amazing. Take a picture.
Yeah, I will.
So exciting. So exciting.
Thank you.
And I was lucky enough to have an advanced copy, so yes. I have read it, and yes. It's a very powerful book.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
It's been such a privilege to interview you and to talk to you, even though it's on Zoom, but yes. Maybe we can get together sometime and have tea again.
Of course. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, my honor to see you every time. And I told you, every time I see you, I feel joyful and so exciting. Yeah, so exciting to talk to you. It's my pleasure.
Well, thank you again. And have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
And give my love to your children.
Thank you. I will. Thank you so much.
Please stay with us. We'll be back in a moment with more RCSJ Today.
Are you ready to find your fit at Rowan College of South Jersey?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
To find my fit.
In human resources.
In engineering technology.
In healthcare.
With 6 divisions that include more than 100 degree and certificate programs, RCSJ gives you the choice to find a future that fits your goals. Visit rcsj.edu/enroll to start today.
Welcome back. RCSJ and Inspira Health are bringing excellence in patient care to the South Jersey region thanks to a new alliance designed to educate and retain future healthcare professionals within the community. Inspira President and CEO Amy Mansue met recently with Rowan College of South Jersey President Frederick Keating to discuss the announcement of our premier partnership with Inspira and what it will mean for nursing and health profession students, Inspira employees, and the residents of South Jersey. Here's their conversation, held on our campus in our newly named Inspira Nursing and Health Professions Center.
I'm thrilled to be here today at Rowan College of South Jersey at the Gloucester County campus. I'm thrilled because we're going to be talking to Dr. Fred Keating about our premier partnership, but really excited because it's the first time I'm seeing the Inspira sign on the outside of the building. This really crystallizes our partnership, and I can't wait to have a chance to get to him and, most importantly, to share it all with you. Come on inside with me. Fred, it's great to see you again. Thanks so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Amy.
I wanted to spend the majority of our time talking about our wonderful new relationship, but I feel like I would not be doing my due if I didn't at least ask you for just a couple minutes. You know, I know that you're a Camden, Gloucester County guy. You grew up here. Just spend a couple minutes telling people you've been such a feature and as a structure within the organization and within the community, but you actually grew up here. So give us that history.
I did. You know, heart is in Gloucester, where I'm currently living and working. Grew up in Camden County and now involved heavily in Cumberland County. So everything we talk about when we use the phrase South Jersey, it kind of rings really strongly with me that this is the community that I have been attached to all my life, and I want to spend my time working with people like you and others that are trying to improve the quality of life of South Jersey.
We were together literally, now I'm coming up on 2 years that I've been here, and that first week I was here. You know, we were in a meeting together and you said, I've got a vision, and as we walked out the door of that meeting, you started to talk to me about what you thought was possible between our two organizations, and you obviously had been working on that long before I got here, so talk to me.
A little bit, yes. We gave a little bit of birth to a concept that's been around nationally of an IDS and Meds corridor concept, and that's where you came in, literally at that point where we were talking about Route 55 and the medical aspects on 55. Rowan was moving ahead with their research status, and they continue to do so. So we got into this relationship quickly with you and the leadership that you have brought to Southern New Jersey and to Inspira about the possibility of linking a college who is in partnership with a research university and their medical schools, specifically the School of Osteopathic Medicine, and what if we could attach it to Rowan and then bring it through to Inspira as literally a training college. We look at ourselves now as a training college of Inspira Health.
You know, you really made that case to me, Fred, where you talked about the importance of both of us as anchor organizations in the community and what that means. And maybe you could spend a little bit of time talking about the commitment to making sure that kids get to college and what the difference that plays in their lives.
We saw, and my former life in K-12 at a high school next door at GCIT with allied health academies and such, we here have always seen the outmigration of population with individuals that have told us in high school that they were interested in allied health, bioscience, and medicine. And we watched them go away, and we never got them back. The demand and the need of population to be trained and retained and kept in Southern New Jersey for the quality of life, our real estate, our market, literally our quality of life, was predicated on doing something. So we had the idea, but the key partner you speak of was a major institution coming in and branding it and partnering with it, because that gave the college instant credibility. We know we're credible. We have a nursing division that leads the state 4 and 2 in private. So the idea of the pass rate and the quality of the nurse that we put out, now with you coming in, the clinical opportunity, the opportunity to have faculty exchanges, to have leadership, for them to get inside and see hospitals operate and patient care up front, not just as an experience, but as a culture that you have brought, a culture. And that's what gives the nursing quality here. Our demand for our seats is so aggressive that we turn hundreds away.
You know, Fred, it's interesting because your leader and the dean of the School of Nursing, Dr. Sue Hall,
Yeah.
she was actually in Inspira delivering care, helping us through COVID, as well as your students, as well as other leaders within your organization. And I think that that connectivity, right, seeing it real time, having that trust, I mean, she'd been with, you know, variations of our Inspira organization for years, but she,
we were connected.
Yeah, and I think that that
helps greatly.
And in South Jersey, it's so much a part of who we are.
It is our privilege to not only work collaboratively as a partner with Inspira, but to serve and assist serving the patients that they serve.
It represents what we see so many times in South Jersey, which is, okay, how do we put everybody at the table and figure out how to come together to create good for all? Right? And we know that an investment by Inspira in the university for the reduction in tuition for our staff who work at Inspira to be able to go there also gives the opportunity to really make sure during this difficult time, because county colleges across the country are really struggling with enrollment, to make sure we prop up that membership and enrollment and really help our employees get what they need, but also really make sure that you have the quality of people you need to be able to continue the great programs.
Critical point. Not only that, what I've been impressed with immediately was your employees responding to the tuition consideration and the enrollment and the ability to climb the academic ladder by saying, well, look, I'm doing this, but I would like to aspire to do that, but I need credentialing, I need associate science, I need a Bachelor of Science, I need to go on for a nurse. There's all levels of that. What I was impressed was the response of your employees to say, you know what, because you know what, no one ever sat down and explained it to a person that you can advance your career right here in Southern New Jersey with a reputable and credible program, and you can stay an employee of the system and go up. You're basically building from within and without. A school here to provide your workforce, but I'm impressed that your workforce is responding to also want to come in here.
Do you know, let me tell you a quick story. I had a per diem employee who asked me not to give her any press, but she had enrolled with you guys, but not actually signed up for courses. But so she'd filled out the application, she knew she wanted to do it, but she just couldn't make all the pieces come together. When we made this announcement, she was one of our first calls. You know, it's going to change the course of her life. And that's why this is so important to us, because not only do I get already a dedicated employee who you know, is interested in Inspira and knows us, but she's now going to be able to pursue her life's dream.
She'll be trained as a nurse and be able to come back and provide you that service at that level, and she is already a part of your family and your culture. This idea that you can put an education component and be the College of Health and Nursing training for a hospital system. Even now in the relationship, opening up your hospitals to the idea of a night shift. We took another class of nurses, another cohort off the wait list who were qualified to come in because now we had clinical opportunity. So these doors just kept opening and opening. And the only thing that runs around in our mind, my mind here, and I know it's in yours, is where do we go from here?
For me, you know, I think about those kids. I think about the stats in Cumberland County, right? 50% of the kids are not graduating from high school.
Yes.
To me, that's the what's next. How do we get to those kids? How do we help get them the vision that their life can create, can be part of not only just graduating from high school, but being part of that college experience. And you know, you have those relationships in the high schools already. So really looking at how we provide the supports together to be able to do that, because we know that that changes the economic future of entire groups of people when we actually get that college education. Yeah.
But your point of pushing down into the culture of the community, I mean, that's what we're sensitive to, because we're technically a community college. We have community roots. We serve in other ways. We were a mega site for vaccination of almost 500,000 people here at this campus. So we have community roots, as do I know you, and that's the culture that you brought to Inspira. What you're doing, what we're doing is trying to give both quality of life and opportunity of life at the same time. We can take care of you, but we can also show you a pathway or guide you through an educational system. But you're right, without Rowan University, Ali Hushman, Tony Lohman coming, and Jeff Hand with enrollment management, coming in and working in hand with us like you're now doing.
Well, and Dean Cavallari at the School of Osteopathic Medicine.
Tom has been our savior. Tom and I, by the way, this conversation just like you, I went over and met with Tom and some of his staff. We sat in a little room. I rolled out a little plan of the dirt. We're the ones who came together and said, yeah, we can do that. Gloucester County built it. They came. Now, Rowan SOM, I'm told, when that school out there that has its first class next week of 75 doctors to be, that we hope will live and stay here and serve us, when that gets to 300, that will be the second largest osteopathic school of medicine in the country.
And we at Inspira, many people don't understand that we have one of the largest teaching programs in the state. We are already had it at Vineland. We're over 160 resident slots, and then at Mullica Hill we're now in the process of building it, and I'm so thrilled that we got to start our first 3 residents in psychiatry, again in partnership with Dr. Cavallari and all the folks at Rowan School of Osteopathic Medicine. And it goes back to what's the need of the community.
It's probably the next step. When we say what's next, you and I have spoken, we've all looked at it. We have opened up a brand new division of behavioral health science here at our level. We've talked to some mental health providers in the region about the same kind of partnership, where they have hundreds of jobs that are not filled in the mental health arena. We're a country that's screaming desperately for mental health help and counseling and provision of service, and getting younger and younger every day in that need. It has to be. We have to respond to it. You bring that to the table. Rowan Medicine now with psychiatric for the first time brings that to the table. If we can knit that one together, we could take a lead in the provision of behavioral, outpatient, inpatient, behavioral health services for people throughout this region.
Well, and the reality is that we have prioritized, in cooperation with Rowan College of South Jersey, the students that grew up here and trained here.
Yes.
That's the story we want,
yes.
Over and over and over again, because that's the pipeline for the future. And I'm so grateful to you and to all of those who really allowed Inspira to come sit at this table and be an active participant in it.
Well, we just provided the room. Well, more importantly, what you just said a minute ago, training doctors and nurses that will live here. Live here. Don't take your skills and go somewhere else. We need you to stay here for the quality of life in the southern part of our state.
For me, it's about the affirmation to the residents of South Jersey that your organizations that have been here are continuing to push ourselves to make sure we deliver service for you. And that's what your entire career has been about, Fred.
Well, thank you. And last point on this is, tell us what you need. And if it's within our purview, we will seek it, we will get accreditation or approval, and we will provide it. So that to me is what's entrenched in my head and my heart, is that when we hear need of a medical arena and the possibility of shortage in that area, we have to respond educationally. And we now with Rowan University, we can get you to be a doctor, Rowan can. You know, and we can start that game when you're a sophomore in high school.
Well, it is an honor to be part of this community as Inspira, but it's really an honor to be a partner with you, Fred. Thank you so much.
Good to have you in the neighborhood.
It's a pleasure. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again to Dr. Keating for his participation today, but I really want to just thank the community for their tremendous support of both organizations. We know we couldn't do this work without you, and we look forward to continuing to serve you and do great work.
Are you ready to find your fit at Rowan College of South Jersey?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
To find my fit.
As a sportscaster in engineering technology.
As a registered dietitian.
Visit rcsj.edu to get started today.
The process of applying for a scholarship was fairly easy. They ask you, what made you apply to the scholarship? What do you intend on using it for? And it's just very comforting to feel like you're being heard in those questions.
That's it for this episode of RCSJ Today. Scan the QR code or visit the Rowan College of South Jersey YouTube page to find past segments. Until next time, take care.